Hello, everybody. It is I, David Mauricio, and I'm coming to you live. I'm just joking. This is a front-facing video, the first time ever on YouTube, so be happy about it. I'm here to discuss the Timothy Pool surrounded, the Tim Pool. Don't confuse him with anybody else. There's nobody to confuse him with. He is very unique in comparison to his MAGA ilk, his Republican ilk. And that's because he's honest. But we'll get into that in a little bit. I'm going to be reacting to the debate today, giving my criticisms of the Timothy Pool, and obviously glazing myself till I can't anymore, because that's the goal here, to feel our egos, all right? To make ourselves feel good. Because that's what I want people to feel good, unless you're Tim Pool, unless you're on the right. But I think it's a very special day, and I wanted to take this day as an opportunity to celebrate the domination of Tim Pool. It's the one-day anniversary of his Surrounded dropping on the Jubilee YouTube channel, and I mean, what better time would there be to talk shit about Timothy than now? But before we start making fun of him, I actually want to commend him and recognize the difference between him and people like him on the right, that being incredibly influential political figures like your Alex Jones, like your Charlie Kirk, like your Michael Knowles, like your Ben Shapiro, all of Daily Wire. You get the Candace Owens. You get the point. And that's that Tim Pool is honest. Tim Pool is honest about his subversive nature, his duplicity, his malice. He's willing to allow authoritarianism on the right while simultaneously condemning it on the left. He's honest about that double standard. And that should tell you everything you need to know. The right has no position. The right is a machine fueled by dogma and money. And people like Tim Pool were born from this disgusting concoction of terrible things and have been disseminating propaganda, poisoning American politics for the better part of a decade. And I love platforms like Jubilee, not because they give me a show. Relax. We're not shilling too hard. Relax, America. It's not a quid pro quo. Donald Trump would know if it was a quid pro quo. Okay, it's not that. It's the fact that it finally gives us an opportunity to put these people in the hot seat and make them defend what they believe in. And every single time they crumble. Why? Because they're not here for good faith politics. They're not practicing politics in the right way, Noah's Recline reference. I'm trolling. They're poisoning American politics. They're doing it for the money. They're grifters. They're spineless. At the end of the day, they're fueling their egos. And maybe some of them, a lot of them, are truly bigoted people. But you have to recognize that they should not be trusted with your support. You should not allow them to get into your personal life and change the way you view the world, because at the end of the day, they're not fueled by their own interest. They're not standing on their principle. They're standing on a check. So before I get into that debate, I just want to recognize that the Republican Party, the Republican media apparatus, is not here to make America better. They're here to win, and they're here to peddle conspiracy. They're here to sow hatred. They're here to sow fear, mistrust in American institutions, in elections, in the rule of law, negative rights. You saw Tim Pool mention it. Look at his prompts. The mainstream left is violent. The Constitution doesn't matter anymore. We're treading closer and closer to civil war. Do I need to keep on going? You see the reoccurring theme? These people are not concerned with putting one foot in front of another and leading a crowd of mindless people to a better country, to a better America. They're here to destroy it. And the sooner we recognize that, the sooner we'll be able to change it. We need to hold them accountable. And I'm happy that Tim Pool decided to grow some balls and come on Jubilee and debate these people, and that's why he got destroyed by yours truly and many others. So without further ado, let's get into it. I'm going to be done with the yap sesh. I know we don't like the idea of substance here. We just want to see people get trolled. So I'm going to provide that to you. Let's react to this radical video, America.
I've been young for a minute.
Here we are.
Listen. Oh, yeah. I haven't been young for a minute.
Now, slow down with that. Listen,
all right.
Listen, let me explain myself. I know we were having a good time. He was laughing it up. I'm a very charismatic guy. What can I say? I just tend to have that effect on people. But Timmy, I'm sorry. I'm on a mission to come after all of Tenet Media. You know what that is? You know what that is. We're coming after you, Timmy. Okay? So I just wanted to make that clear, first of all. Okay? So I can't really be nice to you. You know, you and your brother in Christ, Dave Rubin, and all those other people, I'm coming for you, motherfucker. I'm going to get y'all. Because I want to save this country from people like you. Okay? People that want to pin Americans against one another instead of highlighting the real issues in this country and trying to provide a solution. Okay? So I'm sorry, Timothy. Maybe someday, maybe in another reality, maybe in another life, we can be respectful to one another and we can be great friends because I know you'd love to be my friend. You know, I don't think you have many good friends in your personal circle, in your inner circle. So I'm sorry, Tim, but this has to be this way. Really quick, the I condemn is a really cheap cop-out that's not going to work.
It's not an argument.
Because the people around us are not low IQ, like your average viewer. It's important to recognize.
Make an argument.
So I'm about to.
You don't have one? Is that it? If you want to be insults, we can go for insults.
Now listen, I don't want to give up the playbook or whatever, but personal attacks in a way that is judicious, thorough, you thought it through, they're very effective at riling an individual up. Because we want to see the real Tim Pool. You know what I mean? You don't want to see a fake Timcast IRL. You don't want to see a Tim Pool paid by the Russian money. You want to see the real guy. You want to lift up the hood. You know what I mean? So getting riled up is a good way of getting to that point. I'm about to.
We can wrap.
I'm about to.
You want to wrap?
Just stop delaying my time. So it's important to recognize that simply I condemn is not sufficient when the Republican Party has created a permission structure for individuals to go out and do violence.
Like what?
Against, I'm about to tell you, I don't know why he's cutting me off. This is something that we cannot stop talking about, people. We can't stop it. Can't stop doing it. This is a very unique time in America for the reasons I'm about to go into. Okay? And people like Tim Pool continue to downplay it, but you cannot accept those answers. And I didn't either, and neither should you. With impunity. Immigration and Customs Enforcement is a good example.
Law enforcement.
The Trump administration, they
Through an
violated,
electoral process.
you know they've lost in the courts 10,000 times, right?
That's not true.
It is true. Politico actually released a-
What does this straight arrow fact check say about that one time?
16,850 rulings, liberal. Was it not true? Maybe it wasn't true. Maybe it just wasn't accurate. Maybe I was downplaying the stat. Politico, let's up the quality of research here because you gave me a bad number. All right, made me look so bad in front of Tim Pool. Report on it. Yeah, they lost 10,000
I'm
times
sure it
in the
would be
last
like
year.
10,003.
They murdered numerous American citizens. And guess what happened to the I individuals? don't know what the point of that was. He was just looking to interrupt me to throw me off my train of thought. But it just goes to show how bad faith people like Tim are. Carried out those killings. What happened to them?
What happened to him?
Have they been prosecuted? Any investigations? Do you know?
I believe they have not.
Why? It's almost as if when you commit violence,
You're wrong.
You're going to be. Oh, I'm wrong. If I was wrong, then we would see accountability, Tim. Let's think about what we say before we say it. How about that one? Tip for you. That's what's going on. That's why Kristi Noem went out and said that Alex Preddy was a domestic terrorist. That's why Stephen Miller said the same thing. And everybody in the entire Republican Party apparatus. Could you imagine if Joe Biden said the same thing? It'd be brutal. I mean, he called Trump trash, and they started crying as if they were all called trash. I mean, this goes to show. You know what I mean? Those talking points. Because whenever there's violence, they don't condemn it. They condone it, they congratulate it, and they pardon it.
Law enforcement, duly elected by a population that voted in plurality.
I have no clue what he meant when he said that. Just wanted to make that clear.
For ICE to go out and engage in these behaviors.
American citizens?
Which sometimes, yes, absolutely. And
what? Oh, they voted for ICE to kill American citizens, really?
yes. Do you?
I don't think they're that
Who
crazy.
said the average Republican would vote? But do you not believe?
It's important to recognize that obviously the reason why Tim Pool is doing this is because he wasn't really prepared to face an individual of my caliber. I'm just joking. I'm done with the self-glaze. He's a bit of a spineless guy. As I stated earlier, he's going to be brutally honest and in his own cute little way, where he's just going to start rambling off about the most terrible position and trying to make himself seem as if he's so many degrees of separation away from that. That's not the same thing on the Democratic Party. You're not voting for John Ossoff so he can violate the rights of millions of people that make up a shadow economy that's helping us out a lot, that makes our lives better. It's only on the right. You don't vote for Joe Biden to prosecute Republicans or stop them from participating in politics. You vote for Trump to do that to the Democratic Party, to Democratic candidates, to question their candidacy, to question elections, to question America, to question democracy. You can't make the same argument for somebody like Kamala Harris, like Joe Biden, like John Ossoff, like James Salarico, because sadly, again, we live in a country where one side isn't playing politics. They're playing violence. They're playing propaganda. They're playing anything that is essentially against America and what it stands for. And the other side is held to a higher standard, a standard of democracy, respecting anti-majoritarian institutions, respecting the rule of law, respecting negative rights, while the other side can just contravene those things whenever they feel it necessary. And I mean, it just goes to show. In what world should a political influencer, a pundit like Tim Pool feel comfortable saying something like that? It's disgusting.
Believe that there are people in this country that would vote for ICE to harm people?
Is this your argument?
And this is just like a very lazy thing. He's getting absolutely destroyed, so he's now just going to ask me a very dumb question that's obvious, right?
Do you believe?
This is terrible, Tim.
So you think not a single person in this country wants to harm illegal immigrants?
What's the relevance? We're talking about the fact that there is a top-down approach by Republicans like Donald Trump.
Can I ask you the question again? Can you answer the question?
And allow it.
No, notice how he's just ignoring it, though? We at the Timcast IRL don't actually care about institutional violence, okay? That's not our thing. We rather talk about how LeBron James is playing against your 5-year-old white daughter in her girls' basketball league at school. We rather talk about the fact that there's an illegal immigrant who voted, apparently, allegedly. This is what we do. We don't talk about this institutional stuff. We don't really care about eroding institutions or attacking America. You know, that's not really our thing. We kind of want that to happen.
Foment violence in this country.
Can you answer
and
the
you're running
question?
cover for it.
Actually, you just did.
No, I didn't.
See,
we're just saying things now, Tim, aren't we? Listen, Tim. I know you feel some type of way, you know? If you ever want to have the conversation again, pay me $15,000 and I'll gladly go on your podcast.
Actually,
I'm pointing out
ICE violence. You're saying that people vote for it or whatever.
You don't think that there are white supremacists voting for ICE to go and harm migrants?
Are you saying that white supremacists voted for Donald Trump so they could kill migrants?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good to know that white supremacists make up part of the Republican Party and Donald Trump's doing their bidding.
Yes, I certainly believe.
Timothy,
It's over. It's over. Timothy's done. 2 seconds, we're getting a Donald Trump Truth Social Post. Okay? And it's going to be so serious, because how could he say that? He said the truth, but it's the quiet part out loud. It's ridiculous. That's what we call it. It's an old-fashioned term, quiet part out loud.
I mean, if you want to make the concession, thank you so much, Timothy, for telling me something I already knew. And thank you for the honesty again. I've been commending you numerous times throughout this video for that characteristic, that trait that you have that is very, very unique amongst your kind. You know what I'm saying? The MAGA people. Okay, the right people. All right, the Republican people. And it just goes to show, again, put it the other way. Point at the Democratic Party. See who is it that we can vote for that would do something similar. Nobody. We live in a country right now where white supremacists have a vessel for violence. We shouldn't have that. Nobody should be okay with those things. Which is why in November you have to make the right choice.
They do.
Okay.
The initial claim that I'm making is that there is absolutely violence on the right. I already agree with one of the previous debaters that there's institutional violence from the right as well. The best argument against my claim actually is that the right, when they get levers of power, will use law enforcement as their vehicle for the violence that they want to engage in.
True that, King.
Those things are all fair. My point is that we are not
That's
seeing...
a nice, long, drawn-out concession. Thank you for...
But it's not a concession because maybe we agree.
Oh, okay.
See, I think...
Well, didn't you say the modern political left commits more violence than modern political right? So now you're saying...
Just because there are...
Notice how there wasn't an answer? Notice how there wasn't an answer? Dave Rubin didn't do it either. Maybe it's the tenant media thing. You know, maybe it's that. Maybe it's just people at tenant media. They really struggle answering questions, you know? But sadly, it's the Republican Party as a whole. Why can't he answer? Why? It's such an obvious point. He's conceding to it verbally, just in a more indirect way, but he just can't do it. Because once you concede to that, the whole house of cards falls apart. That's why MAGA can never concede to a single point. Because you'll be able to rip the mask off with one finger, just like that. We see through you. It's obvious. The mask isn't holding up anymore, King.
Riots coming from the left does not mean they're morally right or wrong, or does not mean the right is better or worse. This is a statement about volume of violence that we see and a meaningful issue to a voter as to what is the underlying motivation that we see pushing violence in this country. So when you have ICE going out and engaging in these actions...
This is like a Clarence Thomas level of interpretation with that prompt. That is not what
I don't know why you're trying so hard to disagree when we actually have common ground.
Pause, we are out of time.
So in this moment, I actually asked him again, so do you agree, just because he said we have common ground, that the mainstream right commits more violence than the mainstream left? And let's track his lips there.
Thank you.
Doesn't appear there was an answer. Is that just me? Let's check that one more time.
Pause. We are out of time. Thank you.
Shameless. Shameless, shameless, shameless. Do you want people who agree with Tim Pool to be making decisions about your rights? About where we send our servicemen and women? About how we spend our money? Your hard-earned money that you send to the federal government with the purpose of it being used to make this country a better place? I personally don't. And I think that this debate, many debates just like it, where you have a huge pundit that has been propping up the Trump administration, that has been propping up Republicans for years, put in the hot seat, shows you that they're not equipped to handle a country and they're incapable of making this country a better place. Just make it very obvious. Now, this will be relatively quick. You know, it was a bit of a hectic conversation. I really just wanted to troll the shit out of Tim. Listen, but at the end of the day, I believed in what I was saying. And I think it's important to understand why. Why? Why would I say that? Why?
Surrounded claim is that the United States is tracking towards a civil war.
If you'd like to be the first debater, please head to the chair in 3, 2, 1.
Wow, look at that fast. That's a fast young man right there. Covered a lot of distance.
Welcome back.
Yep. You miss me? So, listen, I think that we are getting closer towards a peak of civil unrest in this country. And in all honesty, I'm going to blame people like you. This entire time, you've been trying to blur the line between what separates you and a person like me and everybody in this circle. Okay. The truth is you don't agree. On your show, you have 5 white supremacists around you and 1 liberal lawyer talking about why we should protect the Constitution. On Twitter, you're mentioning the Civil War and why we need to have a civil war 24/7.
I've never said we need to have a civil war.
No, you've said civil war.
Actually, I've never said that we have to have one. I just said that we're getting close, or that's about to happen, or this is likely to bring up.
Numerous times slates of screenshots over the last 4 years alone.
Saying that
I'm not
there
done.
will
talking
be
about shooting
one
ivermectin
is
up your
very
ass.
Whoa, listen. The rage bait was palpable. Okay, let's be honest.
You know what I was doing there.
I've never advocated for ivermectin. You have literally no idea what you're talking about. You've not done any research, and you've never used Google. I've never advocated for ivermectin.
I've never used Google.
He's not going to stop talking. You're going to waste
I've
never used it.
By the way, Tim, just to quickly debunk what you're saying, I'm using Google to watch this video, so think again, liberal.
I said no. You shouldn't use it.
I'm going to get to the point here.
So if you want to make things up,
are you an intellectual or are you too much of a child?
You want to just waste time, then we can waste time. But if you have an actual argument, so if you agree with me on the issue, but you don't like me, then we can agree and you can leave.
No, I think you're responsible. I think you're responsible.
You can get up
an
and
individual
leave
like you're mad.
If you agree,
you just don't want to finish. You know where I'm going to go with this.
Do you agree?
You so mistrust the United States institutions.
You're allowed to blame me all you want, and then we can agree and you can leave.
You just want to run away from conversation?
Are you here to dispute my claim or agree with?
Run away from accountability? Oh, I think you're responsible. Many such cases on the right in America.
That's fantastic. Thank you, and have a nice day.
Oh, you don't want to hear why you're responsible?
It's fantastic to be responsible for a civil war. We're tracking towards a civil war. Ugh. Not a good look, Tim.
Yeah, because you're here to dispute my claims, right? Not
agree with me. It doesn't matter. You don't. All of a sudden, you want to stick to the definition of your claims when it comes to just about everything.
Are you supposed to agree with me and sit here and agree with me?
You're not going to stop talking, are you?
Are you going to sit here and agree with me?
Are you going to control yourself? You're like 50 years old, bro.
You're going to sit here and agree with me?
Calm down.
You come down.
I don't agree with you. I disagree with you on everything.
You make fake claims.
Of course I do. If anybody's doing something that they don't actually believe in, it's you because you're getting paid by other countries.
In fact, I argued with Joe Rogan on his show. I advocated on Joe Rogan's show against ivermectin.
Okay, listen, there's really no need to go further into this, okay? There's really no need to go further into this. I just want to be very clear as to why I said the things that I said. And this video is actually, the thumbnail is going to be Tim Pool versus accountability. And it's not just Tim Pool, it's the entire Republican Party. They cannot entertain the fact that what they say is getting us closer and closer to a peak of civil unrest in this country. Because again, if they concede, the house of cards falls. Keep that in your mind. They are propped up by propaganda, by conspiracy, by fear. Donald Trump won a campaign off of fear, making you believe that your neighbor was out to get you, that immigrants are out to get you, your daughters, your sons, your wife, your mother, your father, your job, your home, your benefits, to take over the government. That the Democrats are ready to destroy democracy. It's a farce, and you can't fall for it again. There is, and I'm sorry to break it to you, but there's going to be a recurring theme in a lot of these videos, and that is, I am not going to stop really hammering in on the importance of what is to come this November.
You need to make the right choice. And we cannot allow for anybody like Tim Pool, like Dave Rubin, like Ben Shapiro, like Michael Knowles, like the right, everybody on the right that supports this administration, that aligns with this administration, to continue to peddle these points with no pushback. Because you saw here first. When they're confronted with the truth, they crumble, they break, they lash out, they're irrational. Because at the end of the day, I mean, there's not really much separating Tim Pool from a normal person, as there should be, right? There should be some degrees of separation between a political pundit and a normal person, but sadly, no. There's just one separation. Couple. That is malicious intent and a whole lot of fucking money. So don't fall for the propaganda. Observe politics with a critical lens and fight for this country and make the right choice come November. I can't stress that enough. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. This will be the first of many YouTube videos that I drop in the coming week. So be on the lookout. I love you all so much. Stay safe. Overachieve at school, overachieve at work. You know the fucking drill. Follow me everywhere you can possibly find me. I'll catch you guys later. Thank you so much.